Why good people turn bad. Have you ever found yourself asking why someone who seemed so kind and compassionate could suddenly change? Why do good people, with noble hearts and the best intentions, sometimes end up doing things that hurt others or betray their own values? The answer is rarely black and white, and it's a lot more complex than simply labeling someone as bad. The truth is, good people don't just wake up one day and decide to turn bad. They are shaped, molded by their experiences, by the environment they're in, and by the situations they face. Life has a way of testing us all. And unfortunately, not everyone can hold on to their goodness when faced with repeated hardship, pain, or betrayal. Picture someone who starts off with a heart full of generosity and kindness. They care deeply about others, they want to make a positive impact on the world, and they believe in the power of doing good. But then, the harsh realities of life begin to take a toll. Perhaps they face betrayal from someone they trusted completely. Maybe they're treated unfairly in their personal or professional life, or they encounter endless struggles that seem to knock them down time and time again. It's important to understand that people don't change overnight. It's the small, consistent hits that wear them down. Little by little, the person who once gave endlessly starts feeling drained. They begin to lose trust in others. They become cynical, guarded, and maybe even bitter. This isn't because they were always destined to become bad, it's because they've been hurt, and they feel they have no choice but to protect themselves. In some cases, the very act of self-preservation can turn someone away from their original values. When a person is constantly let down, mistreated, or taken advantage of, they can start to adopt a me versus the world mentality. The kindness that once flowed freely becomes buried under layers of self-defense. To survive, they may start behaving in ways that seem unrecognizable, even to themselves. For some, the shift comes from the pressure of society or the desire to fit in. Imagine someone who has always stood up for what's right, only to be ridiculed or ostracized for their morals. Over time, the desire to belong or succeed can push them to compromise on their values. They begin doing things they never thought they would, telling themselves it's just what needs to be done to get by. And before long, the line between right and wrong becomes blurred. Another factor is the influence of power. History is full of examples of good people who, when given power or authority, gradually lose their moral compass. Power can be intoxicating. It can give people a sense of invincibility and a false belief that they can bend the rules without consequences. The more power someone accumulates, the more they may feel tempted to use it in ways that serve themselves rather than others. But it's important to realize that turning bad is not always a conscious decision. Often, it's a response to pain, frustration, and disillusionment. The person who once stood for fairness may no longer believe the world is fair. The person who once gave selflessly may feel they've been taken advantage of one too many times. And so, they change. We tend to judge people by their actions without understanding the battles they've faced. It's easy to label someone as bad or immoral, but rarely do we stop to ask, what happened to them? What experiences led them to this point? Could it be that their goodness was simply overwhelmed by circumstances beyond their control? This doesn't excuse harmful actions, of course. But it helps us see that the story is more complicated than we might think. People aren't born evil. They are shaped by the world around them. And sometimes, the world is not kind. Before we judge, we should remember that we, too, are vulnerable to the same pressures. Given the right set of circumstances, any one of us could be pushed to compromise our values. We are all capable of change, both for the better and the worse. The question is, how do we hold on to our goodness when life seems intent on breaking it down? The answer lies in empathy. If we took the time to understand each other's struggles, if we supported those who are suffering before they reach their breaking point, maybe fewer good people would feel forced to turn bad. At the end of the day, we all want to feel seen, heard, and valued. When that doesn't happen, when someone feels alone in their pain, they may decide that their goodness no longer serves them. Let this be a reminder that kindness, like a flame, needs to be nurtured and protected. Good people can stay good, but it's up to all of us to create an environment where goodness can thrive. Instead of rushing to judgment, let's offer understanding. Let's be the reason someone holds on to their values instead of letting them slip away.